And that's it. I'm leaving Dallas. I left Dallas 2 years ago and immediately regretted that decision. However, over the last 6 months, I believe not only was that a good decision, it was really perfect timing. And can you believe it's already been 2 years since the release of the mega viral I'm leaving Dallas video? And it seems like yesterday I packed up and left Dallas for the suburbs of Frisco. Now at the time, I wondered if I was really making a huge mistake trading my city life for suburban living. And was I going to give up culture, excitement, and opportunity for cookie cutter homes and strip malls? If you're considering moving to the North Dallas area, I hope to answer some serious questions for you, such as why so many people are still moving to the North Dallas area despite home prices, and why it's still a good time to consider moving here, and why it could be a big mistake if you don't understand the challenges that you can face whenever you get here. Now, you know that feeling whenever you make a big life decision and you immediately wonder if you've just made a terrible mistake? And that was me really just 2 years ago whenever I left Dallas and headed up here to the Prosper area. And I remember standing in my living room, which was empty, and I just wondered if I was going to miss the walkable neighborhoods, the energy of the city, the buzz of people everywhere. And then you fast forward to today, and I'm just standing in my small backyard watching my dog run circles because it's not that big. And I'm thinking about how much my life has transformed since then. But the biggest shift wasn't really about just making the move. It was what my money could buy. And, in Dallas, I had purchased 100-plus-year-old 1,400 square foot, 2-bedroom, 2-bath home in a historic district. And now I've got 2.5 times the square footage, a dedicated office, a guest room, a movie room to watch YouTube. And my home would have cost about $1.8 million in Dallas, but I was able to get it up here for less than $1 million 2 years ago. Now, to be honest, there was definitely some things that I missed at first. And so Dallas has an incredible food scene, and I love all the little hidden neighborhoods throughout Dallas itself. So for me, I lived in Old East Dallas, right on the border of Lakewood. And, at Lakewood, I love that neighborhood, all of the historic homes, the proximity to the lake, actually White Rock Lake. Every Saturday and usually Sunday on the weekends, especially in the spring, summer, and fall, I would ride my bike. I was a few blocks from the Santa Fe Trail, and I could just hop on the Santa Fe Trail, which is an extended trail that is paved. And so it's really nice because it just kind of runs throughout the neighborhoods and it connects to the White Rock Lake Trail. And so the trail around White Rock Lake is about 9 miles. So a round trip for me to get there and all the way around White Rock Lake and back home was about 22 miles. And that took me about 2 hours, but it's something that I love to do early Saturday mornings, early Sunday mornings, just go hop on a nice paved trail. So I didn't have to ride on the streets. I didn't have to worry about cars, getting run over. Of course, you're going to cross intersections, but you stop and look both ways and then you go on. And then I would just ride all the way around the lake. Something about White Rock Lake I've just always loved. I grew up in Dallas in the Casa Linda area, so I'm very familiar with all of that. And now moving over close to Gaston and Abrams, that historic district that I was in, I loved my little bungalow home. I loved all the massive trees everywhere. And then I could easily walk down and get to Whole Foods, Starbucks, although I prefer boutique coffee shops instead, or family-owned coffee shops. So I rarely, if ever, go to Starbucks. Actually, Starbucks is my last choice. Am I the only one? Let me know in the comments. Are you like 100% Starbucks? Like my brother has to get Starbucks everywhere. Travis is like that, has to get Starbucks everywhere. And I want to try every single little different coffee shop I can get my hands on. Plus, I like to buy a bag of beans and bring it home with me as well. So that way I can enjoy that coffee for the next week or two at my house. But not only that, I had a cafe in my neighborhood. It was called Garden Cafe. And so just even being able to walk a few blocks over there meant all the difference. But I love people seeing just walk up and down the street, walk their dogs, close to parks. I was also very close to Lower Greenville, which I love that whole community, Henderson Avenue, Knox Henderson. I just had going down to Bishop Arts as well. Bishop Arts, one of my favorite areas in Dallas. That was really just a quick 15-minute drive just on the other side of the river. Getting over to West Dallas, Trinity Grove, which is a whole new area that's booming. Getting to downtown Dallas, going to Deep Ellum. There's just so so much that I love about the city of Dallas, but not living downtown, but actually being in the little neighborhoods adjacent to there. And something like Lakewood or Junius Heights or Old East Dallas or Lower Greenville area, M Streets, all of that with all of the unique homes, mostly 100 years plus old homes, historic homes. I like the character, I like the change. And then the food scene, you've got all the different places you can visit, like E-Bar for Tex-Mex. I loved Hungry Belly, which is an amazing Chinese, Korean fusion place. And then of course, just restaurants opening up all the time. I'd go down to Pecan Lodge, one of the best, my favorite barbecue spot in all of Dallas. In Deep Ellum was getting this resurgence so be able to go down there and experience all the restaurants. So we actually had our office down in the Deep Ellum area. Loved that, missed it. And so I'm sitting here wondering, what am I moving up to into Prosper? And then I get up here to Prosper, and there's not really much right now as far as a food scene or character at all, you could say. So then I find myself, hey, on Saturday, let's drive down to Dallas and hang out there for the day, which we do quite often. I still own my former house and a couple of other rental properties down there. So I always just like to drive by from time to time to check them out, see what's going on, make sure they're mowing the yard. Then I find myself wanting to spend more time down there because Prosper is developing, which I'm going to share that here in just a little bit, actually, why that's a good thing. And that also influenced my move quite a bit. I've got Frisco next door, so I'm starting to discover more and more in Frisco because most of the time I was just visiting up here, especially whenever I was working with clients. But then of course you come up here and you start to discover actually what I found. I always loved the historic downtown areas of Prosper. Prosper is pretty small, only a couple little spots, although they are expanding now and adding some restaurants like Black Hawk Brewery. They've got the Gin down there, 1418 Coffee, just to name a few. And so that's starting to grow and expand. I love going down there just because of the little character of it. Frisco has a pretty good little downtown historic area, not too robust, but you've got like Summer Moon, which I love that coffee shop. And then there's some other good sushi restaurants around there as well. Then you head over to McKinney's historic downtown, and it just reminds me of these historic areas in downtown Dallas. It's the largest historic district in the North Texas area, and it's the most hustling and bustling. So it reminds me a lot of like Lower Greenville, walking around there, multiple streets of shops and restaurants and bars and boutiques and bike shops and coffee shops and everything that you need right in your backyard. So those are all just short commutes away, and I found myself spending more time in those historic areas, just because I'm almost still a little anti-strip mall. They've got a lot of the big box retailers and this normal stuff that you see, and I like going to the mom and pop shops, the boutiques, and especially the ones with character that don't just look like a white box and completely modern inside, which nothing wrong with modern architecture. I just like the old stuff. So it takes a little bit of exploring whenever you get up here to the North Dallas area, but there's just as many good spots and new spots opening all the time. But what was really cool is how quickly I built community inside the neighborhood here. Is whenever I moved into my neighborhood, 5 of my neighbors knew exactly who I was. We do a lot of business up here in the North Dallas area, and that's actually the funny thing is our channel is named Living in Dallas, Texas, but 99% of our business is up here in the suburbs. So I found myself really commuting up here more than people commute to downtown Dallas. And so despite the fact that we wanted to help people find homes in Dallas, everybody was calling about Frisco, Prosper, Salina, McKinney. And I found myself driving up here on a regular basis, pretty much like a commute. And then of course, whenever I moved into my neighborhood, like I said, 5 of my neighbors, including my next door neighbor, the one across the street, the one 2 doors down, another one on the next block over, they all were like, hey, aren't you that guy on YouTube? So I immediately had connection and, some rapport with my neighbors. And so it was really kind of cool to get to know them. And now, we see them out in the streets, their kids are out playing. And then we've had them over at the house as well for little events and, Cowboys games and things like that. And so it was like an instantaneous community built in here as to, in downtown Dallas in my neighborhood, I knew, my immediate neighbors like right around me, but they either didn't have kids or they had much older kids. And so, the thing is with the downtown Dallas, you're going to find a lot of young professionals, usually without kids at the time. A lot of people do still have kids down there. It's usually a transition piece, right? And whenever people do have kids, they want to move up to the suburbs, especially if they're looking at school districts and things like that. But whenever you come into a community where practically everybody has kids and they're all out throughout the evening, in the evening playing in the streets, that's a real easy way to make connection. Then on top of that, you have community pools, the amenity centers. All of this you don't find in those small Dallas neighborhoods, right? You just don't have that, which you could see that as a pro or con. But you get up here into these master plan communities, they've got coffee shops, they've got cafes, they've got pools, kids splash pads, lagoons. I mean, all these crazy amenities built in these communities. So whenever you go there, they're usually exclusive. Exclusively, you're going to find people in your community in that neighborhood there. So then you're going to meet other people who like to do what you do, go to the pool, take the kids there, go to the cafe. So you're constantly in this environment of a community sense and getting to know people, which I would say the Dallas neighborhoods really kind of lack that unless they, throw some type of block party or little community event throughout there. So that was almost instantaneous. On top of that, there was a church just right down the road, which was easily accessible. So we thought, let's just jump in there. And all of a sudden we knew people there, or people knew me there as well. That's the funny thing. And I started helping out with the youth group. I got the 7th grade boys this last year. I'll move along with them into 8th grade. And whenever I went into the 7th grade boys class, they about 5 of them knew who I was. They were like, hey, aren't you the guy on YouTube? And then one of them was like, yeah, you sold my dad a house, and which was pretty cool. And then I had instant rapport with the 7th grade kids, which that's pretty hard to do, for them to like old people like ourselves. So all of a sudden, an instant connection with the church as well. And then, it's smaller environment. So got to meet the pastor, get to know them, start to get involved with those community events. So all of that just happened very quickly, here in this area. So I would say the social culture is really completely different up here. I mean, people aren't really just passing through on their way to something better. I mean, they're actually putting down roots. They're building connections, creating this kind of community that feels increasingly kind of rare these days. But I found myself, like I said, hosting parties, doing everything that we can to incorporate everybody into our community here as well. So does that mean is every day perfect? No, I can still make the drive down to Dallas when there's a concert. I mean, all the good stuff happens down in Dallas, all the sports games, the concerts, everything. But, Frisco's still developing and has its own cultural identity. Prosper definitely has a lot of room to grow. So the trade-off is a little bit different, but I find myself commuting less to go to Dallas, really for special occasions or events, as to where a lot of our clients are wanting to move in this area. So really that's helped me gain many hours each week just by reducing my commute time, because I'm already in the backyard of where most of you want to live anyways. But I want to share another reason why I did want to move into a developing community. And that's mainly because what's coming next will transform really the entire region here. And most people moving here have no idea that they're arriving just before the biggest wave of development in North Texas history. And it hits with over $10 billion in projects coming online much sooner than you think. So you've got something just like Grand Park, which is going to be a park larger than New York Central Park, actually over 1,000 acres. That's going to be coming within the next couple of years. Now I've got to wait for that, and all of that's got to develop, but that's going to drive prices here and value significantly. And that's only going to be about 10-minute drive down the road. And the city of Frisco just approved $22.5 million bond and to get this started. And the master plan was just approved by the city council this last October. And so they're dividing the park into themed districts, including Civic Park, Adventure Play, Sports Park, Botanic Garden, and the Nature Center. They're breaking ground on this right now. And so it's going to be built out over the next 4 years, but it's going to be amazing. But what most people don't understand about Frisco's transformation is it's not like way out in the future. I mean, these massive projects, which I'm about to share with you a few more, are breaking ground right now with completion dates happening over the next couple of years. And so those that are moving here right now, you're really getting ahead of that. Then you have downtown Frisco's rail district, which is already under construction and transforming the area as we speak. So it's rebuilding Main Street right now, removing on-street parking to create wider sidewalks to add amenities to improve walkability. This was approved back in 2017. It spans about 80 to 88 acres and includes luxury apartments, office spaces, hotels, retail shops, restaurants, and parks. And the Jefferson Railhead luxury apartments are already being built, with the first phase is almost ready for residents to move in. There's also going to be a 16-story hotel expected to finish by 2026. And then they're even planning a larger 32-story hotel. Then on top of that, you've got the Mix, which locals have been calling the hole by the tollway for years. So this is a pretty massive development near Lebanon Road. And it's not just really talk anymore. So the first phase construction is already underway with plans for completion by the end of 2026. And when they finish the complete project around 2033, it will include 2 million square feet of Class A office space, about 375,000 square feet of retail and dining, 630 modern living spaces, 650 combined rooms over 2 hotels. And it'll also feature over 16 acres of open areas, including a 9-acre central park. And one of the most exciting projects, in my opinion, is Firefly Park, which, by the way, is is being built by my childhood friend that I've known since the second grade, Mr. Jess Green. He's actually the vice president of development with Wilkes Development, and they are building that out. I was actually just chatting with him the other day, and we went over there and did a site visit. But that's projected to contribute between $2 billion and $4 billion to Frisco's economic growth. So the infrastructure work started this last April, and horizontal construction is expected to last about 12 months. So phase one is currently being built with completion set for 2026, 2027, but the entire development will roll out in 3 phases over the next decade. And when it's finally done, Firefly Park will include about 400,000 square feet of retail, food and beverage and entertainment spaces, 230 townhomes, 3 million square feet of office space, 1,200 hotel rooms, and a 45-acre park. And then you've got North Fields, which is right around the corner, actually next door to that, a 175-acre mixed-use development that sets to welcome its first tenants in this year. And that's literally right now. I mean, this development includes 673 multifamily units, another 257 apartments, 12,000 square feet of ground floor retail, and 325 parking spaces. And the PGA Golf Complex, which anchors that development, will host more than 26 championship tournaments between 2023 and 2035, including the PGA Championship in 2027 and 2034. And so the entire Northfields concept is designed as a 15-minute city, meaning that residents can live, work, and play all within that development. So whenever you look at the complete timeline of Frisco's major developments, that picture becomes really clear that most of these massive projects will be substantially complete between 2026 and 2033. And that's not some really far off future. That's before kids start kindergarten today, finishing high school. So the pace of that transformation alone is going to make Frisco almost unrecognizable to what it is today in really just a few years. And, you know, me being in Prosper, I'm right on the border of all of that. So you've got the mix of Firefly Park, North Fields, you've got Fields West as well, which is going to be bigger, actually $7 billion bigger than Legacy West. That is going to redevelop all of that inside of the Fields district. On top of that, you've got Universal Kids Resort being built as we speak as well, and that's going to be ready within the next year. I mean, so as far as, you know, things to do with the kids, I know it doesn't seem like a lot right now up here, but I know within the next 2 years, even 3, I'm going to have access to massive park areas, Universal Kids Resort. I mean, the Fields is just right across 380 from me. I mean, 380 is completely transformed, so that's going to just blow up Prosper and Salina. North of that, the tollway is getting extended, you know, north through Salina. That's going to help blow up Salina. I mean, all of that is perfectly positioning real estate growth and real estate appreciation to be, I think, astronomical, I mean, in this area. And if I actually were to break down some of that pricing for you, just so you can see, it is creating quite a big rush here. So prices are holding pretty steady. I mean, just 5 years ago, buying in Frisco meant paying what locals called the Frisco premium, but actually people are wishing they would have bought just 5 years ago as compared to today. So I'm going to walk you through exactly what's happened to home prices in a few different Frisco neighborhoods and Prosper as well. You'll see why more and more people are trying to get in now instead of waiting another year or two, because who knows what prices will be at that time. Unfortunately, some people are already priced out now. So if you look at homes in downtown Frisco's, the 75034 zip code, I mean, just 5 years ago, you probably would have spit out your coffee looking at price tags, but actually now they look like a complete steal compared to what it was. But literally just 5 years ago, the median home price was $483,000 in that zip code. Now it's $829,000. I mean, that's $346,000 in equity on average for homeowners in that area. So if you think about the Grand Park development and the rail district transformation, they aren't just changing how downtown will look. I mean, they're going to be redefining that value in that area as well. And those neighborhoods surrounding like the future Universal Kids Resort in 75033 zip code have experienced their own price surge as well. So just again, 5 years ago, the median home price there was about $459,000. You fast forward to today, and that's closer to $690,000. I mean, that's a $231,000 increase. I mean, average equity that homeowners are enjoying right now in that zip code, depending on when or where you bought. But think about what homes are going to be worth around Universal Kids Resort at that time. I mean, do you wish you would have bought whenever Disney or Epcot or Universal Studios was getting built in Florida back in the day? Then if you look at the Firefly Park area, median home prices were around $415,000 just 5 years ago. Now it's $675,000. I mean, that's about $200,000 $260,000 increase in those area. But you can track the acceleration in price growth to these developments. I mean, when major developments get announced and hit the news, I mean, then everybody knows about it, and that kind of creates the rush. You want to sometimes be ahead of that, but at the same time, as you're going through those construction phases, prices will tend to go up. Now, even in Prosper, just 5 years ago, the median home price was $519,000. Now it's $859,000. That's a $340,000 increase in home prices in Prosper just in the last 5 years. I enjoyed a little bit of that just buying just a couple of years ago. My home price already increased about $150,000. I would say closer to about $100,000 now on the current market if I were to sell, but I don't plan on selling right now. So I'm going to hold on to that. And if you are thinking about buying a home, you should always be thinking about holding on to that home for at least 3 to 7 years. I mean, 3 years is still probably too short of a time if you had to move out of there to really take advantage of full appreciation. 5 years is really a good timeline for, taking advantage of appreciation in a home if you had to move. Now, look, if you buy a home today and you are forced to move for whatever reason, outside forces or family or health or sickness or job relocation, and you're forced to move within a 2-year window, I mean, it doesn't really matter what you're in. And especially since we're not dealing with 2022 anymore. I mean, that was clearly one of the single years of huge price increases just based on demand. But, in any market, and definitely a stable and normal market, 2 years is not really an ideal time to try to recapture appreciation or even what you put into it, because your home value will be similar. Maybe it increased a little bit. Normal price appreciation on homes should be anywhere from 3 to 5% year over year. But still, within the first year or two, if you have to resell, you've got to take in agent commissions, you got to take in closing costs, you got to take in other factors that right now rates are higher. So you might have to help a buyer buy down that rate. So concessions are, so if you could break even on a home within 2 years because you were forced to move, that would be ideal situation. But really the best way to take advantage of appreciation in any area, especially here in the North Dallas area, is staying in your home at least 3 to 5 years. I mean, 3 years is even cutting it close, but 5 years is more ideal. And again, we had a crazy migration wave in 2021 and 22, which really spiked these prices in the North Dallas area. Now we're getting back to normal appreciation, I would say, but the announcement of these major projects up here is a big reason why I made that move up here as well, because I wanted to kind of be on the front end of this. Plus, all of you want to move up here as well. So I was like, I need to be closer to work, closer to helping out my clients. On top of that, I want to get in now because I knew of these projects coming. And so I didn't want to wait. I didn't want to say, well, I'm going to wait a couple of years while it all dust settles. Nope. I knew prices were going to continually go up. And of course, that data shows that announcement effects are real. And once construction actually begins, prices tend to accelerate in the areas even faster. And with most of these major projects already breaking ground within the last 12 to 24 months, we're approaching a tipping point for Frisco and Prosper and Salina. So I'm not suggesting everyone should rush out and buy a home in Frisco right now. I mean, you need to have a conversation with us first, and real estate should always be decided on your personal situation, timeline, financial goals, your family. It's always individualized to what you need specifically, but we can find a deal in any market. Trust me. But just think about Frisco in 2026. Universal Kids Resort will be open. The Mix will be welcoming its first residents coming in. Grand Park begins to take shape. Firefly Park will maybe have phase 1 open at the end of that. This is a really interesting time. Now, on the downside of that, you've got to live through the construction of all of this. So right now, like I said, 380, the tollway under massive construction. You're always driving through dust through there. There could be some delays, but I do know on the other side of that, it's going to open up traffic quite significantly. It's going to help with the flow. I mean, they're not going to build a Universal Kids Resort off the highway and then, not have good traffic flow. At least I hope so. So yes, you're dealing with all of that, but that's the case. What I've always recommended too is that if you're looking in certain areas and you get into a new construction community on the front end, yes, you've got to deal with all the construction, all the dust, all the noise of that. But again, you're usually getting in at the lower prices of a new construction community at the beginning. As it gets built out, price increases usually happen natural appreciation usually happens because inventory shrinks and that neighborhood becomes more desirable, especially whenever the community center gets put in, the pool gets in. So again, the early adopters are usually one that take advantage of the most appreciation. Now, again, the upside is that you've got some really highly rated school districts up here as well. I mean, Frisco is A+ rated, Prosper is A+ rated, Salina's A rated, McKinney's up there as well. Prosper just built its 4th high school, which is massive. I mean, they're bigger than the community colleges here in the Dallas area, and they've got food courts and coffee shops and all kinds of crazy stuff. The football fields, baseball fields, everything. I mean, we take our sports seriously here in Texas. So if your kids are in any type of sports program, I mean, these schools are going to be amazing for them. The stadiums are outrageous, worthy of college style. It's crazy what they're building up here. And so the opportunity for academics for your kids is off the charts. I mean, Frisco alone has 14 high schools, 17 or 18 middle schools, 40 plus elementary schools. Prosper just built its 4th high school. Salina still only has 1 high school. They just passed a $2.5 billion bond to add in, I think, 7 or 8 more schools. One of them should be a high school. But think about this. Salina's projected to be twice the size of Frisco. So think about that as well. Frisco, Prosper, Salina, and Salina's projected to be twice as big as Frisco because it's got a lot of land. And so again, do you want to get on the front end of that? Right now, their population is around 60,000, but they're permitted for up to about 375,000. So what do you think is going to happen whenever Salina gets 200, 300,000 people there? Do you think home prices are going to be more or less? Now, you also have to make sure where you live too, because then you have zoning of schools. I mean, right now you could live in Salina, but be zoned to Prosper schools. You could be in Prosper, but zoned to Frisco schools. And then with all of the developments that are happening in the area, they might rezone. So you could be on the border of something, and then all of a sudden they say, hey, this is being rezoned in 6 months. And now your kids need to go to a different school district. Now, with school choice maybe coming into play, I'm not up to speed on that completely right now, but that is something that I think the state of Texas is looking into. You got to deal with that as well, that you're moving into all these new construction areas where things are changing on top of it. So just be mindful, try to plan accordingly for that. So looking back, I mean, do I regret moving up to this area? Well, it depends on the day sometimes. I do miss Dallas still, but we do get back there to visit quite a bit and check out new restaurants, go to concerts, hang out with some friends. But I do like all of the opportunity, all of the development that's happening in the North Dallas area. Plus, a majority of our clients are moving to all of these areas. It's just a lot more convenient for me to just be throughout these communities, especially whenever I'm filming. I'm out in these neighborhoods quite a bit. It's easy to go drive 5, 10, 15, 20, even 30 minutes to all of these new construction communities. Makes it a lot easier for me versus driving an hour, which would be, both ways to get to Dallas, just to come up here and do filming, to meet with clients, which would happen on a regular basis. So overall, I'm still happy with it. My neighborhood is amazing. Trees are a little small in some parts, but I've got like 600 acres in my community of green space, 30 miles of walking trails. That's really cool. So I can ride my bike all around. We've got an amazing amenity center. The church is close by. More and more restaurants and things to do are popping up. So I do like being on the front end of all that development. I know my house is probably going to be double the price in the next 5 years, especially as all of the dust settles on these developments. So overall, it was a good move. Plus, we got a kid now as well, and that's what we were anticipating moving up here. He's not ready for school, and I don't know, we may homeschool him by the time he gets to that age anyways. But overall, it's nice for him to get to know some of the kids in the community and have some people that he could potentially grow up with. On top of that, Travis and his family are up here in the neighborhood as well, so we wanted our kids to be close together. Overall, it was a good decision. We're happy about it. We love the house. It's amazing. Like I said, this home is 2.5 times the size of what I had in Dallas, but it would probably be, almost $2 million, this home down there. So overall, very excited with the future and what is to come. And if you're thinking about moving to the North Dallas area, I hope you found this helpful. And all of our contact information is below or on the screen. So we'd be happy to help you make a smooth move to Dallas if it's something you're considering. And then check out this video where I do rank all of the top suburbs as well, so you can get a better idea. And we hope to show you around town.